Congratulations. You have just been born. Well, actually, let us take a step back. You have not even been born yet, and you are already fighting a brutal, bloody war for your very right to exist inside your own mother. You are a Megalodon, the undisputed, terrifying king of the prehistoric ocean, or at least that is what the documentaries will tell humans millions of years from now. But right now, in the pitch-black womb of your giant mother, you are just a hungry embryo surrounded by dozens of your unborn brothers and sisters. And here is the first twisted joke nature plays on you. There is no umbilical cord feeding you a steady stream of nutrients. To grow big enough to survive the outside world, you have to eat your siblings. Yes, your very first meal is the sibling floating right next to you. You are a cannibal before you even take your first breath of ocean water. You consume them, absorbing their yolk and their flesh, growing larger and stronger while the weak become your baby food. It is a terrifying battle royale in the dark, and only the most ruthless survive to see the sunlight. So, you won the womb lottery. You ate your family. You grew to a respectable size. And finally, your mother swims into a warm, shallow coastal area to give birth to you. You are pushed out into the sparkling, vibrant waters of the Miocene epoch. You are roughly 6.5 feet long. In the modern human world, a 6-foot shark is a terrifying predator that makes people run screaming from the beach. But you are not in the modern world. You are in the prehistoric ocean, and 6.5 feet does not make you a monster. It makes you a snack. It makes you a pathetic, bite-sized piece of sushi for almost every other predator sharing this water. And what about your mother, the 50-ton titan who brought you into this world? Does she stick around to protect you? Does she teach you how to hunt or guard you from the terrors of the deep? Absolutely not. She drops you in this shallow water nursery and immediately swims away back into the deep ocean. She does not care about you. In fact, if you happen to swim past her a few months from now, she will not hesitate to eat you. You are entirely alone, a 6-foot baby in an ocean filled with monsters. Welcome to the nursery. It sounds like a safe, comforting word, but do not let it fool you. These shallow coastal waters are basically a giant, terrifying cafeteria, and you are on the menu. You might think you have a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth, but right now, those teeth are small, fragile, and practically useless against the heavily armored prey of this era. You spend your first few weeks frantically darting around the coral reefs and sandy bottoms, desperately trying to catch tiny, slippery fish just to keep your stomach from collapsing in on itself. And your stomach is a demanding master. Your metabolism is an absolute nightmare. You are a growing megalodon, which means your body burns through calories like a malfunctioning furnace. You are constantly, agonizingly hungry. If you stop eating for even a short period, you will literally starve to death. So you hunt constantly, but you are clumsy, inexperienced, and frankly, quite ridiculous looking. But starving is only the second worst thing that can happen to you today. The absolute worst thing is being eaten alive, and the list of things that want to eat you is hilariously long. You see those giant shadows moving near the river mouths. Those are prehistoric crocodiles, massive armored beasts that are perfectly adapted to snapping a baby shark in half with a single bite. You have to constantly watch your back, your sides, and above you. You cannot sleep deeply. You cannot relax. Every vibration in the water could be the end of your short, miserable life. And then there are your own cousins. The ancestors of the great white shark are also swimming in these waters. They are faster than you, more agile than you, and they look at you with cold, dead eyes, seeing nothing but a slow, fleshy target. You have to use every ounce of your energy just to avoid becoming their breakfast. And the ultimate betrayal? Other adult megalodons occasionally cruise through these nursery waters. They do not have any parental instincts. To a 50-foot adult megalodon, a 6-foot baby megalodon is just a crunchy little appetizer. You live your entire childhood in a state of absolute, crippling paranoia. You are a hyper-carnivore that is terrified of everything. You jump at every shadow. You flee from every large splash. Your days are an endless, exhausting cycle of catching miserable little fish and fleeing for your life from things that are bigger, faster, and meaner than you. It is a miracle you even survive your first year. Most of the siblings who actually made it out of the womb with you will not. They will be snapped up by crocodiles, torn apart by early great whites, or simply starve to death because they were not fast enough to catch a slippery prehistoric squid. But let us say you are lucky. Let us say you are paranoid enough, fast enough, and aggressive enough to survive this underwater hellscape. You eat, you hide, you survive, and you slowly start to pack on the pounds. Your body begins to stretch, your cartilage hardens, and your teeth begin to take on that iconic, terrifying triangular shape. You are growing. You are surviving the nursery. But do not celebrate just yet, because the reward for surviving childhood is simply being thrown into a much larger, much more dangerous arena. You are about to graduate from being a 6-foot snack to a 20-foot teenager, and you are about to discover that puberty in the prehistoric ocean is a completely different kind of nightmare. So you survived childhood and grew to 20 feet. Time to rule the ocean right. Wrong. Welcome to the most awkward and dangerous puberty in the history of planet Earth. You are no longer a tiny snack, but you are not yet the 50-foot leviathan that apex predators fear. You are stuck in this miserable middle ground. Your metabolism is still a raging fire, demanding more food than ever before. You cannot sustain yourself on small fish anymore. You need blubber. You need fat. You need to start hunting the big boys of the ocean, the early whales. But here is the terrible truth about being a teenage megalodon. You are big, but you are also incredibly slow and bulky compared to your prey. You do not have the sleek, torpedo shape of a modern great white shark. You are built like a submerged freight train. When you try to ambush a whale, you have to rely entirely on an explosive burst of speed from below. If you miss that first strike, the whale is gone, and you just wasted a massive amount of energy that you desperately needed to survive. Your life becomes an exhausting cycle of stalking, calculating, and launching yourself at giant mammals. And let us talk about your prey for a moment. These prehistoric whales are not the gentle giants of today. They are aggressive, heavily muscled survivors. When you bite into them, they fight back. They thrash, they ram, and they can break your ribs with a single strike of their massive tails. Every time you hunt, you are rolling the dice with your own life. You are a predator, but you are also constantly battered, bruised, and living on the edge of starvation. You spend years fighting for every meal, growing inch by painful inch, until finally, you reach your ultimate form. You hit 50 feet long. Your jaws are wide enough to swallow a small car. Your bite force is the strongest of any creature to ever live. You have officially taken the throne. You are the apex predator. You look out at the vast ocean and think that nothing can touch you now. But nature is a cruel, cynical comedian, and the joke is about to be on you again. Just because you are the biggest does not mean you are the boss. Meet your new neighbors. While you are a solitary hunter, roaming the oceans alone, the whales have evolved to fight back in the most unfair way possible. They form gangs. Welcome to the era of Leviathan, a prehistoric sperm whale that is just as big as you, but with teeth the size of human thighs. And here's the worst part. They travel in pods. You are a lone wolf, a 50-ton solitary killer who relies on stealth and raw power. But when you try to hunt a whale now, you suddenly find yourself surrounded by a mafia of giant, highly intelligent mammals that communicate with each other and coordinate their attacks. You might have the strongest bite, but you cannot bite 5 giant whales at once. They will ram you. They will bite you back. They will literally beat you up and steal your lunch. Being the king of the ocean is exhausting when the ocean is full of coordinated syndicates that hate your guts. You are constantly stressed. You have to eat literally thousands of pounds of meat every single day just to keep your massive body functioning. You are an eating machine trapped in a body that never stops demanding fuel. If you get injured in a fight with a Leviathan or a particularly aggressive baleen whale, you cannot hunt. And if you cannot hunt, your massive body turns against you. It starts consuming its own muscle mass. You will starve to death faster than a creature a fraction of your size, because your engine is just too big to run on empty. You are a prisoner of your own immense size. But let us say you avoid the whale gangs. Let us say you manage to find enough food to keep your giant furnace burning. You rule your territory for decades. You are a legend. And then, the ultimate betrayal happens. The planet itself decides it is tired of you. The climate begins to change. The Earth is cooling down. Ice caps start to form at the poles, and the ocean levels begin to drop. Remember those shallow, warm water nurseries where you were born? They are disappearing, drying up, leaving your species with nowhere safe to raise the next generation of snacks. But that is not even the fatal blow. The real tragedy is what happens to your food. The whales, your primary source of blubber and survival, begin to adapt to the changing climate. They develop thicker layers of fat. They become better insulated against the cold. And most devastatingly, they start migrating toward the freezing waters of the poles where nutrient-rich upwellings create massive feeding grounds. They swim away into the icy depths, leaving you behind. And here is your fatal flaw, the tragic punchline to your majestic existence. You are a shark. You are cold-blooded. You are a 50-ton tropical creature. You physically cannot survive in the cold water. Your massive gills filter the freezing liquid, and it chills your blood instantly, sending a shockwave of lethargy through your entire system. So you are trapped. You are locked in the warm, tropical waters near the equator, waters that are rapidly becoming a barren, empty desert. The majestic whales are gone. The giant, blubber-rich seals are gone. Everything that contains enough fat and calories to sustain your massive, demanding body has moved to the poles, where you absolutely cannot follow. You are the undisputed king of the ocean, the apex predator with the strongest bite force in planetary history, and you are quite simply going to die of starvation. You swim endlessly through the warm, empty blue, your energy reserves draining by the hour. You try to hunt smaller prey. You lunge at schools of tiny fish, expending enormous amounts of precious energy for a mouthful of food that does not even cover the calories you burned opening your giant jaws. It is a humiliating, desperate existence. You are a supercomputer being powered by AA batteries. Your ribs begin to show through your thick, gray skin. Your movements become slow and uncoordinated. You are too big to survive on anything that is left in your territory. Your 50-ton body, the very thing that made you a literal god among prehistoric monsters, has become your inescapable tomb. As your organs begin to shut down from malnutrition, the final insult arrives. The smaller, faster sharks, the ancestors of the great white, the ones who used to flee in absolute terror at the mere scent of you, begin to circle. They are not starving. Their smaller bodies require far less food, and they can survive on the scraps left behind in the warm water. They sense your weakness. They watch the mighty king of the ocean slowly suffocating on his own inadequate metabolism. You do not die in a glorious, blood-soaked battle with a mythical sea serpent. You do not go down fighting like a titan of the deep. You slowly, painfully waste away because the earth turned down the thermostat and your dinner swam away. And as you finally stop swimming and begin your long, slow sink into the dark abyss of the ocean floor, those smaller sharks move in to take their bites out of your dying body. Your majestic reign ends not with a triumphant roar, but with a pathetic, hungry whimper in the dark. And millions of years later, tiny, hairless apes walking on two legs will dig up your giant, fossilized teeth. They will put them in museums. They will make ridiculous, action-packed movies about how invincible and terrifying you were, completely oblivious to the pathetic reality of your demise. They will never know that you died because you were essentially a giant, oversized tropical fish that could not afford a winter coat when the climate changed. So, the next time you look at a sleek, modern great white shark and feel a shiver of primal fear, just remember the tragic comedy of its giant, terrifying cousin. The Megalodon was the biggest, baddest, most heavily armed creature in the entire ocean, and it was entirely defeated by a slight drop in global temperature and some smart whales that decided to move to a colder neighborhood. Nature does not care how big your teeth are, how thick your skin is, or how much you weigh. If you cannot adapt to the changing rules of the game, you are just a temporary, 50-ton footnote in the fossil record. Would you rather be a small, pathetic survivor dodging shadows in the reef, or a giant, majestic king who slowly starves to death because he simply cannot handle the winter weather? If you enjoyed watching the mighty fall, do not forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to Born to Suffer for more depressing animal realities. Share this video with someone who thinks being big solves all problems.